Hello and welcome to the weekend update. So I'm gonna talk about the major averages: S&P 500, Nasdaq 100, Russell 2000, dollar, gold, bond yields. I'll also have a look at some stock trade ideas. I'm seeing some areas where there are opportunities which I wanted to share with you. So I'm going to move quickly. I'm going to try and keep the video short. So I'm going to move quickly. So S&P 500 finished on a strong note. It was up 1.34% on Friday. Weak and choppy early part of the week, but strong finish. Now, initially on Friday, the stocks reacted negatively because to the jobs report. The economy added more jobs than the market was expecting, so bond yields rose and the stocks fell. But if you look at the other aspects of the report, they were pretty much in line with expectation. There was nothing concerning hourly wages and participation rates and unemployment rates. They were pretty much in line with expectation. But this one statistic where economy added more jobs than the market was expecting basically was the headline. And initially bond yields rose, and stocks fell. But after a short period of time, the bond yield started to retreat, and so what happened was stocks started to move up. Now, another reason why stocks rose was because they were so oversold. Look at this is S&P 500. RSI was down here in an oversold area. So the question was whether we were going to get more selling when we were already in an oversold condition. So therefore the stocks bounced, S&P 500 rose. So how do we see S&P 500 at the moment? Well, despite this green candle, on a daily basis, technical picture hasn't improved that much. See, this is an area which was the previous high. It's still below that level. It hasn't taken out this level. You can see that this area was a support here, so it hasn't taken out this level. If I bring in the moving averages, you'll see that the price remains under the moving averages, which are moving lower. If you look at the momentum indicators, RSI is still below the 50 level. So I would say on a daily basis, the technical price structure, momentum indicators, they haven't changed. They're still negative. If I look at the weekly basis, on a weekly basis, one thing that has happened is that even though it traded below the weekly 50 EMA, but it managed to hold this by the end of the week. I think that's a positive, because if it had closed underneath the weekly 50, it would be underneath both the weekly 20 and 50 for the first time since the early days of 2022 when we had the bear market. But at least it hasn't done so. So right now on a weekly basis, the price is trapped in between the weekly 20, the blue line, and the weekly 50 EMAs. RSI has moved up, but it is just under the 50. So I would say that the weekly picture at the moment is neutral at best, but the daily picture is still negative. For daily picture to become positive, it needs to take out this level right here. If it moves up above this level, then it will at least establish a swing high. You want to see some kind of positivity. I'm not seeing, it's not there at the moment in the chart. You also want to see RSI get back above the 50 and maybe retest and do that. We're not there yet. So, there's still work to be done. First level is this level right here, which is what? 43.37. Watch that level. Beyond there, these two moving averages, where are they now? The blue one is at 43.36, which is basically the same level, and the pink one is at 43.86. That 43.86 also happens to be where the weekly 20 EMA is. See this weekly 20 EMA? It's around 43.56. So if it takes out this level, then it would basically clear all of the moving averages. And RSI, you want to see RSI get back above 50. So we're not there. So that's what I'm looking for next week. Now next week, we've got another important economic report. So let's quickly have a look at what's coming up next week. So next Wednesday, we have the first of the inflation report, the PPI. But I don't see anything in the PPI that could move the market. Core PPI month over month. Last month was an increase of 0.2. Market is expecting pretty much. I mean, if you look at this, it's basically the same. So market is expecting these things pretty much in line with last month. The only thing was the monthly PPI overall rose 0.7%. It's expected to go up 0.3%. But otherwise, all the other indicators are expected to come in pretty much in line with the previous month. So not seeing anything, earth-shattering in PPI. And then we have the FOMC meeting on Wednesday, so that could cause a bit of a volatility, but I'm not sure that it's going to cause anything that the market, it's not going to show anything the market doesn't already know. I think the next report is important. The Thursday is the CPI. So what I wanted to focus on is this. The core overall, last month was 4.3. It's expected to tick down to 4.1. So let's quickly have a look at the trend. You can clearly see that it's been moving lower. But the thing is that it's still at 4.3. I mean, it's just moving down very slowly. It needs to move down very quickly. Like, if it was around 3.5 or 3, that would be one thing, but it's still above 4%. But it's moving in the right direction. So, I still think inflation is high. So this is one I'm focusing on. The other one I'm focusing on is this one, core inflation month over month. Last month, inflation rate increased by 0.3% on a month-to-month basis. This month, it's expected to increase the same amount. Now, let's have a look at the trend. So if you look at the monthly increases, you'll notice that during this period, from September of 2022 till May of this month, on a monthly basis, core used to go up over 0.4%. That is high. But over the last 3 months, you can see that the monthly increases have started to come down. They're more like 0.2, 0.3%. I think 0.3 is still high. If it is more like 0.2%, that is acceptable. But at least you can see that, and this month it's expected to come in at 0.3. I mean, 0.3 is definitely better than these elevated levels. So that's the headline overall. Last month was 3.7%. It's expected to come in at 3.6. Month over month inflation last month was up 0.6. So I'm seeing some improvement in this month's number. Maybe if the numbers come in a little bit better, that might provide further boost to stocks. But those would be the things to look out for. Wednesday is the PPI, FOMC, and Thursday is the CPI. So coming back to our S&P 500, as I basically mentioned, watch 4337, whether it can take out that, and then watch these moving averages, whether it can take a. If so, then this price structure starts to improve. RSI, see if it gets back above 50. So that's S&P 500. Let's look at NASDAQ. I think this is basically where the strength is. So let's remove the moving averages. You can see that NASDAQ had traded in this zone for a long time, and then it broke to the upside. So this is looking positive. And if I bring in the moving averages, you can see that it has taken out one moving average, the 20 EMA, but it's just at the daily 50 EMA, which is around 15,000. So if it closes above 15 and holds it, I think the price, the structure starts to look better. And if you look at the momentum indicators on a daily basis, you can see RSI has closed above the 50 level. Now, it needs to hold. If it now pulls back, then that's bad. But if it holds the 50 level, I think that's positive. Then we can expect further gains ahead. If I look at the weekly chart, you can see that on a weekly basis, it has reclaimed the weekly 20 EMA, which is the green line. It has never touched the weekly 50. I mean, NASDAQ was much stronger than the other indices. RSI remains comfortably above 50. So overall, I'd say NASDAQ is looking more positive than S&P 500. But you want to see it can move convincingly above 15,000 and RSI hold the 50 level. If I look at the other indices like Russell 2000, Although it was up over 1%, but it still has a lot of work to do. You can see that having traded between this zone and it broke to the downside, it basically moved the full measured move. And this is basically where it's trying to find some kind of some kind of a base, but there's still a lot of work to be done to change the price structure. You can see the moving averages are moving lower. RSI is still well below 50, so there's still a lot of work. Can't get excited about the small caps yet. If I look at Dow, similar to Russell 2000, it traded between these two zones, and then once it broke, it had a full measured move to this level, and this is basically where it's trying to form a base. Although it bounced up 1%, but it still remains below these moving averages. RSI is well below the 50 level, so there's still a lot of work that needs to be done on Dow Industrial. Now let's look at the sector performance. So I've got S&P 500 along with all the sectors. So this is a S&P 500, the black line, and these are the performance, year-to-date performance of the 11 sectors. You can see that communication and technology, these are the two that are now on an uptrend. After this correction, they've started to move higher. This is discretionary. This is also in positive territory for the year, but it's after this big decline, it's been kind of going sideways. It hasn't been able to break out of this move, whereas you can clearly see the communication and technology, they've started to move higher. So if you're looking for long ideas, this is where you want to be. You want to be either in communication or technology. Look at the defensive. These three sectors together, they make up roughly 45% of S&P 500. So if these 45% is putting upward pressure on S&P 500, the remaining sectors that account for 55%, they're dragging S&P 500 down. You can see that many of them are in negative territory for the year. Utilities, staples, so forth and so on. So if S&P 500 is to make it's to get back to these levels, it certainly needs help from these sectors. It cannot alone do it with just these two sectors. If I include discretionary again, it can't do, these three alone cannot lift S&P 500. It needs help from these other remaining sectors, the defensive sectors. You can clearly see that from this point onwards, they started to move lower, and they made lower low. Utilities made lower low. XLP, real estate, financial, all of them have made lower lows. So this is basically where the weakness is. But if these guys are able to move up these sectors, then you can see some kind of a additional move to the upside on S&P 500. But this is where your strength is. So if you're looking for long ideas, this is where you want to be. All right, let's move on to yields. So this is 10-year bond yield. Let's go to my other screen. This is where's my bond yields? Let me just, I'm just going to bring up. So there it is. Okay. You can see that the bond yields have been moving up quite strongly. But I am looking at a possible trade idea in the bond market that includes TLT. So let's discuss that. You see, this is the RSI. This RSI red line is an important level because every time RSI came to this red line, you see there was a pullback in yields right here. And also right here. See, all these tops coincided with RSI 70, this red line. Now in September, it broke through this level, and RSI 70 then acted as a support area. Now, even though price made a higher high, RSI didn't. So what I'm thinking is this: if RSI dips underneath this 70 level, this now, which is a support, is going to be breached. And then if it comes back up to this level, I would expect a rejection and I would expect yields to pull back. If that happens, then I think there is a trade to go long TLT or bond futures. I'm going to be trading the bond futures. I don't trade the TLT, but I think you can also do it with TLT. So let me explain now what would be my target. My target would be RSI to come back to this 50 level. You can see the 50 level has been a good support area. So this pullback I would expect in the context of this uptrend, similar to these pullbacks. I'm not expecting yields to crash and burn. I'm expecting some pullback because it looks quite stretched to me. And RSI then I would expect to move back to this 50 level. Now let's see how it would work out in TLT. So this is TLT. You'll notice that it's been on a sharp decline. Now notice one thing is that RSI has now fallen underneath the 30 level. So every time it comes to the 30 level, you can see that there's a rebound. So this time it has fallen underneath 30 level. Now price made a lower low, RSI didn't. So there's a small divergence building. So the way I think things may play out is this: RSI gets back above 30, and then if there is a pullback to this 30 and then rebound, then I think there is a trade on the long side on TLT. And I would expect RSI to come back to this 50 level. You can see that 50 level has been a tough area to stay above for TLT. So I would expect RSI to come back up to 50, and that's basically where I would exit. So this is basically what I'm watching. So you can either play it on using bond futures, or you can do it through TLT. I'm planning to play with bond futures. So this is basically what I'm watching. So that's bond futures. If you look at gold, so you can see gold, with bond yield rising, gold has been pulling back. So gold traded in this zone, this zone, and then broke to the downside. So it now achieved a full measured move, and this is where I'm seeing some strength. So if bond yields kind of pull back a little bit, I can see gold moving up maybe towards these moving averages. And you can see that it was so oversold. RSI, you don't usually see RSI fall to this level. But I'm not expecting anything significant because, as long as bond yields remain elevated, I wouldn't expect a significant move to the upside. So again, this could be a short-term trading opportunity, move back up to these moving averages, just to release some of the oversold condition. Dollar would just do the opposite of it. You can see having traded between this zone and then breaking out to this upside. So it achieved almost a full measured move of this range. So dollar, you can see that it's been pulling back. Again, it looks a little bit stretched to me. So, I'm not expecting a break of the dollar as long as bond yields hold up. So I do see some additional pullback just to release some of the overbought condition. If you look at oil, so oil, it was one of the strong trade up until end of September, and then it fell. So effectively, it traded between this two zone, and then once it broke this this level, it achieved a full measured move. So this distance is the same as this distance. So now this trade is over. Now, on a daily basis, it's looking weak because now the price is underneath both of these moving averages. And you can see MACD is moving lower, RSI has fallen below. So on a daily basis, it's looking weak. But if you look at the weekly basis, all it's done is come back to this weekly moving average. RSI is also at near the 50 level. So on a weekly basis, it's still holding up, and it is at support level. So so I wouldn't short it. The idea to short was up here, not down here. So I do expect some pullback, but the question is, as long as the momentum indicators remain, weak, negative, then any rebound is going to be short-lived. So I'm on the sideline. I'm just waiting to see what happens next before deciding, whether to go long or short. But on a weekly basis, it is at support, and you can clearly see that it has completed the full measured move of the previous distance. So I won't be shorting. I closed my short position. I don't have a long position at this point. I'm just on the sideline because I'm just waiting to see the next move. But that's That's oil. Now, if I look at the sectors, S&P 500 sectors, just to see what the sectors is telling us, I said in a, I talked about all of them, but you can see that XLK has broken out to the upside. So XLK is looking good. XLC also has broken out of this consolidation. So if I just remove you can see that this is also looking good. But the other ones are still, XLY, you can see that XLY is still in a consolidation mode. So you need to see XLY break through this swing high. XLF, still in a downtrend. And if I bring in the moving averages underneath, so there's still a lot of work to be done. XLV, healthcare, again, underneath these moving averages, RSI below the 50, a lot of work need to be done. XLB, similar, structure looks weak, momentum is weak, so not too excited about it on the long side. Industrials, yeah, we could see an oversold bounce, but utilities looks weak. I could see some bounce towards these moving averages, but not particularly looking to trade on the long side, because when momentum indicators remain weak, then you could get caught. These rebounds could be short-lived. Staples, I mean, if you're a long-term investor, I'm sure there are some value opportunities in these sectors. Energy, it looks broken at the moment. I would wait until I see some kind of a structure, either to short or to go long, because you can't short here, you can't go long here, because if you go long in a weak market, any rebound could be short-lived, and then you could have another leg down. So if I want to short, I want to wait until it comes back to these moving averages, then I want to short. If I go long here, then momentum is weak. You got to be very, very quick. Real estate, looking quite weak. So those are the sectors. So stay with the strong sectors, XLK and XLC. So now I want to talk about some individual stocks where I'm seeing strength and possible trade ideas. First up is Microsoft. I'm liking this stock right now because you can see that after the pullback right here, it has created a structure like this, a shallow pullback, and then now a swing high. It's also taken out its daily 20 and 50 moving averages. So this is looking positive, and RSI is also moved back above the 50 level. So what we need is confirmation. So one possibility is that it pulls back and retests this level and then go like that for RSI to do something like this. Or the other thing is that there is a follow through. It doesn't pull back, it just stays above, and RSI stays above that level. So that's a confirmation that this breakout is for real. So a lot to like about Microsoft. Apple, beginning to look good. I still think that I want to see a close above this level. But you can, since forming this low, it's gradually moved higher. RSI closed above 50 level, so this is positive. You want to see that it doesn't dip back below the 50 level. If so, then obviously I would not be looking on the long side. But it's beginning to look positive. If I bring in the moving averages, you can see it hasn't taken out the daily 50 yet. So that's why I think that if it closes above this level, which is around 179.50, I think the structure would look much better. Nvidia is looking much better to me, because you can see that after this pullback, it rebounded, shallow pullback, and now a new swing high. So there's a lot to like about Nvidia right now. So the first target is around this level, which is around 472, 473, and obviously the next level would be up here. You can see MACD has crossed, moving up. It hasn't crossed above the 0 level, but so far looking good. RSI is above the 50 level. A lot to like about Nvidia. Meta is another one that I like a lot. It has gone through this period of consolidation. It has broken out through this level. So this is looking positive. Next up would be this previous high. You can see RSI is bouncing off the 50 level. A lot to like about Meta. So is AMD. You can see that AMD had this downtrend. It has broken through this downtrend. It has also taken out this swing high. So it has now formed a structure like this. RSI is moving up. So this is also looking positive. Stocks that are not looking that strong among the big cap, as I said, Amazon. Amazon, I need to see it close above this level. It's kind of still stuck in this zone, and if I bring in the moving averages, you can see that that's where the moving averages are. So it needs to get back above this moving averages, and RSI, you can see, hasn't gone above the 50 level, so it needs some work. Another big stock that hasn't that still needs some work is Netflix. Because you can see that it still remains below these moving averages, which is moving lower. RSI is still well below the 50 level. More work needs to be done. Outside of these mega cap stocks, what are some? Google. Mustn't forget Google. Looks very good right here. It's reclaimed the moving averages. RSI is above the 50 level. Next up is this previous high, which is around 140. But otherwise, Google looks good. Next up is Palantir. So I think this one is worth keeping an eye on because it's forming a nice double bottom structure right here. What you want to see is a close above this level. This was the previous rejection level, which is it's around 17. Let's call it 17. So if it closes above 17, I would be very excited on this one. You can see MACD is crossing above the zero line. RSI is above the 50 line. So a lot to like about Palantir. Intuit is another one which looks good. After this consolidation, broke out to the upside. Momentum indicators are now shifting from negative to positive. Looking good right here. DraftKings is worth keeping an eye on. But I want to see a close above this because right now it's forming a nice structure right here. And I can see that the momentum indicators are beginning to tick up. So if it's able to break through this level, I think we might have a trade in. So this is around 30. If it takes out 30, I think there could be trading opportunities here. CrowdStrike, strong looking. If you look at the weekly chart, you can see that the weekly chart looks quite positive. You can see that it's forming this slow series of weekly higher lows. Moving averages are going up. Weekly RSI looking strong. So there's a lot to like about CrowdStrike right here. Although up very strongly, maybe you wait for some pullback, retest this level before going long, because it was already up almost 7% on Friday. But a lot to like. Another one I'm watching is MicroStrategy. Bitcoin is gradually moving higher. You can see Bitcoin, since forming this low right here, it's been gradually moving higher on a daily basis. You've got this daily higher low. If it's able to take out this level right here, then, I think Bitcoin can move further up. And some of the Bitcoin related stocks are showing some strength. And one stock that I am watching right now, it's not a buy yet at the moment, because I want to see it take out this level right here. But I can see that the momentum indicators are beginning to move higher. So it's on my watch list for a possible buy candidates at some point in not too distant future. Semiconductor sector is beginning to look interesting to me. After this correction, semiconductor sector has been stuck in a big trading range. Here it is. They've been stuck in a big trading range for a while, but you can see that this is SMH. SMH has established a new swing high. So this is beginning to look better. You can see momentum indicators are beginning to move higher. MACD is crossed right here. RSI is moving higher. So I like, so I want to see some follow through. So if it stays above this zone, that's positive. RSI staying above this zone is positive, or maybe a shallow pullback, retest and go. Yes, that will confirm to me that this breakout is genuine. Within this space, there are a couple of stocks I'm watching. Broadcom is one of them. It's beginning to have a positive structure right here. So if it's able to break out this to the upside, then I think there could be opportunity on the upside. I can see that the momentum indicators are moving higher. Another one is KLA 10 core. So this one is basically, if it's able to convincingly break through this level, then I think there could be a trade on the long side. So I'm watching this one also. Now, healthcare is one area which I said was not looking particularly good, but there are a couple of stocks it's worth keeping an eye on. One of them is United Healthcare, because you can see on a weekly basis, this was a trading zone for a long time. It has broken out to the upside on a weekly basis, and you can see that MACD is crossing above the zero line. Weekly RSI is moving up, looking very strong. So this is one stock that I would be looking, keeping an eye on. Now it was up a lot. Maybe you wait for some kind of a pullback and retest, and then before buying and then go. But this is looking positive to me. Another one is Lilly. Obviously, Lilly, it had a very strong run up, then a correction. Now it's rebounding from this correction. You can see RSI has reclaimed this 50 level. And you can see MACD is beginning to turn. So I think there is a, maybe it can move up a little bit longer. Well, I'll leave it at that. I thank you very much. I hope to come back with another update shortly. Thank you.